I was never meant to fit in. I was made to rewrite the whole damn system. Watch me break it beautifully. They've been trying to paint a picture that ain't never matched my soul. Trying to trim my edges down to fit inside a perfect mold. But I'm wildfire, I've been rules just to watch them turn gold. I'm the girl who breaks the script and make my own story told. They want quiet, I bring thunder. They want proper, I bring wonder. They try shaping me with hands that never held my truth. So I shattered every box they built and called it breaking through. I ain't here to follow line. I redraw the whole design. Every sit and stay they get into a battle cry. I'm the reason the limit got nervous. I'm the reason the rule book ain't working. Whoa, I'm a rebel, built wrong for perfection. I break every mold they try to press me in. I don't follow paths, baby, I invent them. Any rule made for me, I bend it, then end it. I'm a force, I'm a storm, I'm the friction. Born wild, born free, no permission. I'm a rebel, yeah, and I'll never fit the vision. They try to force me into living. They said tone it down, but I got louder just to prove. My magic ain't a filter, it's a real life from real groove. I'm my mama's fire, and my grandma's true. A legacy of women who ain't never follow rules. My voice ain't made for shaking, it's built for shaking room. My walk ain't made for blending, it's built for breaking through. I'm the lesson, I'm the warning, I'm the blessing in the bloom. I'm the rebel they can't manage cause I never fear the doom. If being me's forbidden, then baby I'll think twice. If freedom got a price tag, I'll pay it with my life. If they want a perfect woman, they won't ever get my kind. I'm the rebel with a crown, chaos wrapped in divine. I'm a rebel, built wrong for perfection. I break every mold they try to press me in. I don't follow paths, baby, I invent them. Any rule made for me, I bend it, then end it. I'm a force, I'm a storm, I'm the friction. Born wild, born free, no permission. I'm a rebel, yeah, and I'll never fit the vision. They try to force me into living. Don't call me broken, call me chosen. Call me rebel, call me soul in motion. Steps off, baby. This ain't just a vibe, it's a sanctuary. You just walked into the love palace. Welcome to a daily dose of Dee. Wrap yourself in satin truth. This love ain't rushed, it's velvet smooth. Silk on your spirit, rose in your mouth. Let me show you what healing's really about. Ooh, she don't play with pleasure, nah. Only pours it where it's earned. Let it burn slow. A daily dose of Dee. Let the love run deep and free. One touch and you'll believe. She's the calm, she's the heat, she's the peace you need. Here in the love palace, where even broken ships sail smooth. Anchored down, baby, daily dose of Dee. Your prescription to feel seen. No refills, just show up and receive. Let your drifting to healing seas. We don't chase waves, we ride them. She don't beg, she just
Grand day, everyone. I want to take a quick moment before today's episode to share a quick disclaimer. The topic I'm discussing today is workplace mobbing. It is not intended to target or single out any specific person, company, or situation. This is a general conversation based on research, awareness, and real life experiences that many people face in different environments. Some of what we discuss may feel familiar or even personal, and that's because these situations are more common than we often realize. I also want to acknowledge that through my own learning, I've recognized even I have experienced certain aspects of what we're talking about today. However, this episode is for educational and awareness purpose only. It's not a substitute for professional, legal, or medical advice. If you feel this topic may be triggering or emotionally overwhelming for you, I encourage you to take care of yourself first and step away if needed. Your peace and well being always comes first. This space is about learning, healing, and growing together with respect, honesty, and understanding. Now, let's get into today's Daily Dose of Dee. Sometimes the loudest pain is the silence in a crowded room where smiles mask whispers and teamwork feels like a battlefield, where your eyes don't meet yours, but conversations stop when you walk in. It's not always fists, it's not always words you can quote, but it's felt deeply. Today, I speak for the ones who clock in but feel pushed out. Welcome to Daily Dose of D. Grand rising, grand afternoon, or grand evening, depending on what time of day you're watching Daily Dose of D. I am your host, GoddessDee of Love. How's everyone doing today? We have made it to April the 1st, hump day. Can y'all believe it? We are already in April, springtime. Yes. So it's Wednesday, right? You know, they call it hump day, wellness Wednesday. But here at Daily Dose of D, I want you to call it Watchful Wednesday. Because the subject that we're going to talk about today is actually a subject that I researched because I heard it on TikTok. I heard this word on TikTok, which is going to be the word of the day. And I was like, what? I've never heard of that. So that's what sparked this conversation for today. And those who resonate with that, I hope you um, get the information you need. And those who are like me that was unaware that this was actually a word, but it has been happening for a long time in the workplace, I hope you get the knowledge and understanding like I did. So, with that being said, here at Daily Dose of D on Be Watchful Wednesday, the word of the day is workplace mobbing. hmm So the definition of mobbing is um, originally an ethical term describing small animals swarming in a large predator to harass and drive it away. It sounds disgusting, right? So that's the definition of mobbing. Now, workplace mobbing is a psychological tear in a professional setting. It's a collective target by co-workers or management. And the intent is to humiliate, isolate, or force an individual out of the organization. So this month is April. The whole month is April is Workplace Violence Prevention Awareness. So let's get into the quote of the day here. Workplace mobbing is real. If you feel isolated in a crowd, unheard in meetings, and undermined at every turn, remember this: your value is not defined by their behavior. Your worth is not diminished by their treatment. Stand tall in the truth of who you are, even when they try to make you feel small. You are stronger than their whispers. You are greater than their games, and you deserve respect no matter who tries to deny it. So, we're going to get into this subject, y'all. This is something very interesting, and like I said, I explored this because of I seen it on TikTok. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Daily Dose of Dee, episode 236 to be exact. Y'all feel me? So since it's April, we're diving into the Workplace Awareness Month. Today we are tackling a heavy but necessary topic: workplace mobbing. So let's start right at the root of this conversation. Again, the word mobbing originally comes from the idea of a mob, which refers to a group of people coming together, often in a chaotic or aggressive way, usually targeting one individual. The term was first used in a behavioral science to describe how animals, like I mentioned earlier, gang up on a perceived threat. But later, it was adapted into human psychology to describe group based hostility toward one person. So, in a professional setting, workplace mobbing is essentially ganging up. It's a form of psychological tear where a group of coworkers or even a manager and their subordinates systematically target one individual with the intent to humiliate them or force them out of the organization. So when we bring this into a workplace setting, workplace mobbing is when a group of coworkers, whether intentionally or subconsciously, target, exclude, and undermine or psychologically harness one individual over time. This isn't just one disagreement or a bad day. Let's be clear about this. This is repeated behavior that creates a toxic environment for that one person. And let's be real, Love Palace family. This doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's quiet, but it's consistent, and that's what makes it dangerous. So now that we have the understanding of what workplace mobbing is, let's talk about workplace awareness, especially because it's April and that's what it's about. So, workplace awareness as a formal movement didn't just appear overnight. It grew out of the labor rights movement of the 20th century. So as we move from worrying about the physical safety, because that's what it used to be more about, right? When it was awareness of workplace, it was more about the physical safety. Those that have those labor jobs, like if you hurt yourself at a job, falling off a ladder or something like that. It's more. This is about to worry about the psychological safety. While the labor laws Originally focused on fair pay and hours, when it became the 1980s and 90s, they brought a new wave of research into how toxic environments can affect your mental health at work. So, workplace awareness grew out of the increasing recognition that employees weren't just dealing with physical hazards on the job, but emotional and psychological ones too. So, over time, organizations and advocates began pushing for safer, healthier environments, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. A healthy workplace should feel like a space where communication is open, respect is mutual, and people feel safe being themselves without fear of isolation or retaliation. But when mobbing enters the picture, those characteristics shift. Instead of collaboration, you begin to see exclusion. Instead of communication, you see silence and that gossip. Instead of support, you see a subtle sabotage. And that's where awareness becomes everything because you can't address what people don't recognize. So let me pause right here for a second because this might already be hitting home for somebody. Maybe you've been in a space where you felt left out, but don't quite explain why. You started questioning yourself, wondering if you were overlooking or being too sensitive. Your feelings are valid, and sometimes your spirit recognizes what your mind hasn't caught yet. So take a deep breath. You are not alone. We're going to continue this conversation about workplace mobbing right after these messages.
For those that don't know, mobbing is when a group of people in the workplace, usually your peers, but sometimes it can be leaders, turn on one individual and systematically push them out. It's coordinated or contagious behavior. It usually looks like exclusion, gossip, undermining, isolation, conveniently forgetting to invite you to meetings, micromanaging your every move while letting others slide, discrediting your contributions, making you the punchline of inside jokes you're not in on. What makes mobbing so hard to deal with is that it's often invisible to people outside the situation. You try to bring it up and people tell you to just ignore them, or they imply that maybe it's just in your head. But that gaslighting, intentional or not, is part of the trauma because now you're not just dealing with the behavior itself, you're also having to prove that it's real. Mobbing often happens in workplaces that talk a big game about values and culture, but don't actually enforce accountability. It thrives where leadership avoids hard conversations and conflict, and where teams are stretched too thin, or where groupthink is the norm. I wish more people knew that this was a thing, but now you have the language for it.
Georgia, Georgia.
Yo, just pulled up to the Love Palace. Ain't no cap here, just facts and feels. D and Kel's on the mic, we talking ships, all kinds. Pull up and unpack. Kiss and tray. Friendships that held me down through the struggle. Companions who dipped when I stepped out the bubble. Family ties that tug, some tight, some frayed. But we lay it all out, let the truth get played. No judgment, just lessons on velvet chairs. We speak from the gut, raw love, stripped bare. GoddessDee, got that glow like sage in the wind. Queen Coles hit the mic, truth spilling again.
Relationships, we talk it, we walk it. No filters, just real. Love Palace, the spot where your soul can heal. All them ties, all those vibes, we ain't letting them drown. We lift ships up, never tear them down.
relationships with benefits.
Welcome back, Love Palace family. If you did not get a chance to watch the episode of The Ships last night, it was a real good time. We talked about respecting the woman in all of the ships because it was the end of the month and last month was Women's Month. So we talked about that. And then we went over to Holistic Royalty by Kels, your certified yoga instructor, your certified nutritionist, and did a Q&A, and it was very, very good. So tap in to us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. here at the Love Palace, and then we go over to Holistic Royalty by Kels for the live Q&A with the episode of The Ships. Okay? So now, let's go ahead and dive deeper into this conversation about workplace mobbing. Excuse me. We're going to do this together. So let's go ahead and keep this going. So when we talk about workplace violence, a lot of people immediately think physical harm because that's what I did. Of course, because you hear the word violence, you're like, oh, who's trying to hurt somebody physically, right? But it actually shows up in four main ways. It could be physical violence, verbal abuse, psychological harm, and intimidation. Mobbing falls heavily into the psychological and emotional category, but can include other elements too. It isn't just physical assault, it includes criminal intent by someone with no legitimate relationship to the business, violence by customers or clients, violence between coworkers, and personal relationship violence that spills over into the office. Okay. Now, signs of mobbing aren't always obvious at first because you might notice people consistently excluding one person from meetings or conversations. There may be an ongoing gossip, eye rolling, dismissive behavior, or even coordinate efforts to undermine someone's work. The person targeted might suddenly be blamed for things they didn't do or their contributions are ignored or minimized. So if you're wondering if you are experiencing this, you need to look at specific signs. It often starts with being excluded from meetings or even social lunches, followed by constant trivial criticisms of your work that feel like nitpicking. Somebody just nitpicking at every little thing you do at your job. You might notice that information you need to do your job is suddenly being withheld, or that rumors about your personal life are circulating through the whole entire office. An example would be a team consistently leaving one coworker out of important emails, but later criticizing them for not being informed. Like, you know that this email is supposed to go out to everybody. So this is what it looks like. You're in part of the team, but you don't get an email. So then you have that team meeting, right? And everybody else knows what's going on. And they point you out and say, so what do you think? And you have no clue about what anybody's talking because you didn't receive that email. That's not just miscommunication. That's actually a pattern. So let's go into this deeper because I want to talk about conflict versus mobbing and some deeper questions. Because I want to make something real clear up something, because this part is important. Conflict and mobbing are not the same thing. Let me say this again. Conflict and workplace mobbing are not the same thing. Conflict is normal. That's normal day life. It's usually between two people, and it can be resolved through good, effective communication. Mobbing, workplace mobbing, on the other hand, involves a group targeting one individual over time, often without a resolution and with harmful intent or impact. See the difference there? Now, here's the deeper conversation, family. Is this something new? Is this a new problem? Honestly, no, it's not. This has been around for a long time. But the truth is that people ganging up on others has likely existed as long as humans have lived in groups on this earth. However, we have discovered and labeled it so late because for a long time this behavior was just dismissed as, quote, office politics, right? Or you need to have thick skin. But what changed is our awareness. People are not putting, people are now putting language to the experience that were once ignored or dismissed. Now we're putting words to what we have experienced at work instead of saying, oh, that's just office politics or you just need to have thicker skin. No, the experiences that are being felt at work now are being expressed by words and have titles. So, why are we just now really talking about it? Like I said, I was scrolling through TikTok and I was like, what is this workplace mobbing? Because when I think of the mob, I'm not going to be honest, not the gangster side. Okay. I do think about that a little bit too. But I think about, remember when they used to do those flash mobs and they would go dance and do these routines? That's what I think about. Or mobbing when people would mob into stores like Black Fridays and things like that. But this is because people are speaking up because mental health is taking more being taken more seriously because silence is no longer the standard. It was recently brought to the forefront because our modern day economy relies more on collaboration and mental clarity than manual labor. Did y'all hear that? It's because our economy, I like this point, relies more on collaboration and mental clarity more than labor, mhm, making psychological health more valuable to a company's bottom line. Now, let's talk about social media for a moment because we have to, especially since I got this information from social media, okay? Social media has changed the game entirely. Social media has played a major role in exposing these behavior. It gives people a platform to share their experience, connect with others, and realize they're not alone. In the past, people in the past, you could leave the bullies at the office, right? You could go home and leave them bullies at the office. hmm But now, social media has allowed mobbing to follow you home in group chat, excuse me, vague posting on sites like LinkedIn, or creating digital paper trails of exclusion mean that harassment can happen 24/7, making it much harder for the victim to find a safe space to recover. But at the same time, social media can also amplify mobbing. if negatively spreads online. So it's like a double-edged sword. It can heal, it can also harm. Like I mentioned before, I didn't even know that there was a word for this. I was aware of harassment at work and different things like this, but I wasn't aware of the verbiage or the language until I went on social media. So that's an example how it can be a double edged sword, right? So let's take another quick break because whew, this is real life right here. Some of y'all are thinking about that job, that office, that environment where you felt drained before your shift even started. Where Sunday nights feel heavy, where your peace was slowly being chipped away. Or whatever day you have off before the day before you go back. Think about that. If that's you, GoddessDee sees you. And more importantly, you deserve better than that. We're going to continue this discussion right after this message.
If you used to be a part of the team, but now it feels like you're invisible, if you're being iced out, that's not you imagining things. That's a sign you're being mobbed. Isolation often starts with subtle moves, missed invites, group chats you're not in, team lunches you hear about after the fact. The goal is to disconnect you so they can control the narrative about you when you're not there. Don't chase them. Connect with allies outside the circle. Document what's happening and how often it's happening. You're not imagining this shift. Mobbed is coming soon, and you don't have to face this alone. So if this resonated with you, don't forget to like and follow for more.
Some cases fall right in your lap. This one, pure gold. Chimaka Essentials. Mystery boxes. 40% off. Limited stock. You know what to do. All you have to do. Right on. Shop boxes. Get yours today. Right on.
In this town, the best leads don't come easy. But this is worth following. Chimaka Essentials. Mystery box. 40% off. Limited stock. You already know. For 40% off and 40% off, you mean it treats you with a scan for strictly blessings on blessings on blessings. Get yours today.
Mystery box, what's inside?
Welcome back, family. Make sure you tap into www.shamakaessentials.com. You see the mystery box. The mystery box are 40% off. Now, the best thing about that is you never know what you're going to get. So go on over there to Shamaka Essential. Order your mystery box because it's 40% off. Those are good deal. You never know what you might get in that box. So tap in with Shamaka Essentials, okay? Now, family, I'm not going to keep you too much longer on this, but this part is, I'm going to finish strong because I'm going to talk about what you can actually do if you are experiencing this workplace mobbing. So, if you feel like you are being mobbed, the first step is to start a detailed log. Write down dates, times, who's involved, and exactly what was said or done. So you're going to keep this record on a personal device rather than your company computer, okay? Because if you do it on the company computer, they have access to this. So do this on your personal device, your phone, your tablet, your laptop that you have. Now you're going to do this. Let me set the intention for you. Not out of a place of fear, but from a place of protecting yourself. So trust your instinct. If something feels off repeatedly, don't ignore it. Okay? Next, you can consider speaking with someone you trust, whether that's HR, a supervisor, or even someone outside of the work who can give you a perspective. If your workplace has policies around harassment or workplace safety, go ahead and review those guides and use them. Okay? There's also external resources available, like the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC. They have workplace advocacy groups and mental health professionals who specialize in workplace trauma. If it's really bothering you, you can seek therapy, coaching, or even support groups can help you process what you're going through and rebuild your confidence. Like I just showed that clip um, of the lady talking. She is actually a coach on TikTok that can help you get through these particular things if you're going through this at the workplace. And sometimes the hardest but most necessary step is knowing when it's time to leave an environment that refuses to change. Sometimes you just got to step away. Remember, your peace of mind is worth more than any paycheck, and you don't have to face the mob alone. So, Love Palace family, let me close this subject today about workplace mobbing with some encouraging words, okay? You were never too sensitive. You were aware. You were never the problem. You were the mirror they avoided. They tried to shrink you with silence, with whispers, with absence, with them side eyes and them half truths, with the rooms that got quiet when you walked in, and the conversations that never included your name unless it was behind your back. They tried to make you question yourself, and then you second guessed your value to dim your light because to make you feel like it wasn't enough. So they could feel comfortable in your presence. But hear me, what they couldn't control, they tried to isolate. What they couldn't break, they tried to bury. And you know what? You still showed up. Tired, but present. Hurt, but working. Confused, but pushing through. That right there wasn't weakness. That was strength in survival mode. But now we're not just surviving anymore. Now we're choosing peace over pressure, clarity over confession, alignment over acceptance. Now we're recognizing that being excluded was not a reflection of your lack, it was a response to your difference. You didn't fit because you weren't meant to shrink. You weren't overlooked, you were set apart. So let them talk, let them gather, let them create stories that never included your truth. Because while they're focused on breaking you, you are becoming. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming wiser. You're becoming more in tune with what you will and will not tolerate. And here's the truth, they never wanted you to realize you don't need their approval to exist in your purpose. You don't need their validation to walk in your worth. And you dang sure don't need to stay anywhere that makes you feel small to prove you belong. Let this right here be your release, be your reminder, and be your turning point. Because no job, no title, no paycheck is worth losing yourself trying to be accepted by people who were never assigned to understand you. You are not what they tried to make you feel. You are not the whispers, the isolation. You are not the doubt that they planted. You are resilient. You are awareness. You are growth in motion. And today, you don't just rise, you reclaim your voice, your peace, and your power. And this time, you don't ask for the space, you take it. I want to thank everybody for coming to Daily Dose of Dee today. I hope you learnt you something because I learnt me something. Now, just remember that April, all the month of April, is Workplace Violence Prevention Awareness Month. So, if you know somebody that needs this information, go ahead and give it to them. Go on and share this out. Go on and like it, share it, and then hit your notification button so you don't miss another episode of Daily Dose of Dee. Now, I know I learned me a lot. I'm saying it right. You know, that's how we say I learned me a lot today about workplace mobbing. It's a real thing, y'all. And if you're experiencing that, take the precautions of the things that I have offered you, okay? Shout out to the replay game. You are much appreciated. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe as well, okay? As I always say, that's free 99. Once again, thank you for coming to the Love Palace. Peace and love. And I will see everybody real soon. Peace and love.
Spirit rise, lavish lights dancing in your eyes, herbal healing flowing through my veins, smoke of the ancestors calling my name. Every pull of prayer, every breath release, lavish lights bring the body peace, lavish lights burning soft and sweet. Chemical essentials where the spirit meets, grounded in the smoke, lifted in the night.
If you're being mobbed at work, here's what you need to know and what you can do about it. Mobbing is a coordinated effort to push someone out, usually through exclusion, undermining, and social isolation. Most people don't recognize it until they're already deep in it, and by then you're so spun out trying to fix it or be better that you start thinking it's your fault. There's no quick or one-size-fits-all fix to this, especially if your manager or HR isn't willing to intervene, but you can do a few things to protect yourself while you navigate what's next. Start documenting. Write down what's happening, when it happened, who was there, what changed, all of that. You don't need to capture every little thing, but you do need a clear picture of patterns. Not only does this help you see that it's not just in your head, but it also gives you something to work with if you choose to escalate it later. If you do talk to your manager or HR, describe what's happening as a pattern, not a feeling. You want to show that there's a consistent breakdown that's only happening to you, and articulate how that's impacting your performance at work. Remember that pattern-based, fact-based language is harder to ignore. You also need someone outside the situation. You need a sounding board, someone who's not involved and who can remind you what's normal behavior and what's not. That's how you stop internalizing what's happening as a personal failure. And at some point, you need to be honest about whether this place is worth staying in. If no one in leadership is stepping in and it's been going on for a while, you might be waiting for a change that isn't coming. Sometimes walking away is the strategic choice. Workplace mobbing is real, it's damaging, and it's more common than people want to admit.
Love like she don't just love, she heals and key. Let go, let flow. Daily dose of Dee in the land.
From back when your heart needs reminding. D is divine, D is daily, D is love, a daily dose.